Livewire security systems. This video will go over the types of security systems Livewire installs and some basic information about installation and programming. Livewire installs two different types of security systems. One is a 2 gig system and the other is a Honeywell system. Each system is slightly different, however, this video is going to focus on the general information that you need to know with both systems. Regardless of which system you install, it could be wired or wireless. Wired systems just means that the various sensors around the house are hardwired to the primary keypad with the wires running behind the walls. It also means that the primary keypad could be hardwired, connecting to the landline phone to communicate with the outside world. Wireless systems mean that the sensors around the house are not hardwired to the primary keypad. Instead, they communicate with the keypad using wireless technology. Those sensors may still need to be connected to power at each location, or they may just run on battery power. We will talk about each kind of system, wired and wireless. Let's take a look at the different components that can make up a security system. First, you have at least one keypad. This is the control panel within the house that allows the homeowner to communicate with the security system, arming or disarming it. Sometimes more than one keypad is installed in a home. One keypad will be the primary keypad, and any additional keypads will be known as secondary keypads. We learned about installing these in the trim out video. As a quick recap, each keypad is installed in the specific location. You will see a Cat5 cable and security system cable for power run to this location. Leave the Cat5 cable in the wall for now and attach the black and red wires within the security system cable to the keypad to provide power. It is a screw-down terminal. If the power has been turned on in the location of the SMC and security system enclosure, you may attach the backup battery. If the power has not been turned on, please leave the battery detached for now. For the primary keypad only, you will need to take out the receiver and replace it with the transceiver so it can communicate wirelessly with the secondary keypads in the house. Before we talk about programming the keypad, let's look at the different sensors that may be installed with the security system. In the trim out video, we also discussed some of these sensors. We're going to look at the motion sensors, recessed door contacts, surface-mounted window contacts, and glass break detectors. How you install these sensors will depend on whether or not you're installing a wired or wireless security system. Motion sensors. Measure and mark the location for the motion sensor on the wall according to the manufacturer's guidelines. If this is a wired motion sensor, pull the cable through the back of the wall plate and screw the wall plate in the appropriate location. Now strip the cable so you can connect the wires. You will see a black, red, green, and white wire. The red and black wires are for power. The red wire will go in the location marked with the plus sign, positive, and the black will go in the location marked with the minus sign, negative. The white wire will go in the location marked NC, which stands for normally closed, and the green wire will go in the location marked C, which stands for common. These are screw-down terminals. Once the wires are connected, you can snap the circuit board back into the unit, and then you can snap the cover back on the front. If this had been a wireless motion sensor, you would not have had to connect the green and white wire, and you may not have had to connect the red and black wires for power. Recessed door contact. Remove the dummy contact in the door frame. If the contact is wired, strip the sheathing of the cable. Just like the motion sensor, you will see a black, red, green, and white wire. You will connect the green and white wires using the screw-down terminals. These will help the door contact communicate with the primary keypad. The red and black wires would be used for power, however, recessed door contacts do not need power. They use a magnet to close the circuit. After the wires are connected, place the contact in the door frame. Now you need to place the magnet in the door. Measure so that the magnet is the same height as the door contact you just installed. Drill using a paddle bit that matches the size of the magnet and insert the magnet into the door. If you were installing a wireless recessed door contact, you would simply not have to connect green and white wires to the door contact in the frame. The rest of the steps are the same. Surface-mounted window contacts. These, like the recessed door contacts, use magnets to close the circuit. Here you will have the contact sensor installed on the frame of the window and the magnet piece installed directly across from it on the window. These are screw-down terminals as well. If you are connecting a wired contact, you will connect the green and white wires. It does not need power, so the black and red wires are not connected. If it's a wireless contact, you would install it the same way, you just wouldn't have any wires to connect. Glass break detector. Glass break detectors monitor for the sound of breaking glass. They don't have to be placed on the glass itself. In fact, you should place the glass break detector on the opposite or adjacent wall within 20 feet of the window you want to monitor. If this is a wired glass break detector, just like the motion sensor in door and window contacts, you will connect the green and white wires so it can communicate with the primary keypad. The black and red wires can be connected for power. If you are installing a wireless glass break detector, you will not need to connect the green and white wires, and you may not need to connect the red and black wires. It may run on battery alone. Now that we've gone over some of the components that make up a security system, let's talk about programming the keypads. The keypad generally has the capability to monitor for burglary, fire, and emergency. It can be set up to just sound an alarm, or it can also be set up to communicate with an outside service provider, alerting necessary personnel and giving a user the capability to communicate with that service provider. The keypad will have an alarm sounder and speaker, a color display with touchscreen, a microphone, an emergency button with indicator light, and a home button with indicator light. This video will give you an overview on programming a keypad, but please refer to the manufacturer's programming guide for more detailed information. To program the keypad, start at the home screen on the touchpad and press the logo button on the bottom right-hand corner to access the installer toolbox. Enter your installer code. Each vendor has its own default installer code. Use that here. Once inside the installer toolbox, press System Configuration. This will take you through a series of questions. Questions 1 through 4 walk you through programming sensors, key fobs, and wireless keypads. Questions 5 through 95 walk you through setting up the system by asking you to enter information such as exit and entry delays, the central station phone number, the account number, and the new installer code. You will want to start with question 1, programming the RF sensors. Within this question, the system will walk you through various questions to program each of the sensors. Each sensor will be programmed with a specific sensor number and sensor type or zone. Please refer to the vendor programming guide for specific information on answering each question. You will need each sensor's equipment or model code and serial number. You'll go through all of these questions for each sensor. After programming all of the required sensors into the control panel, press Skip and it will take you to the rest of the questions. You'll now have the opportunity to go through the rest of the questions, programming any secondary keypads and setting up the specific preferences for the alarm system. Each section will walk you through questions to help you program it. After going through each question for setup, press End and Exit to save all of the changes. The control panel will restart. Now you'll want to set up the user codes for the client. Press Security, then Menu, then Toolbox. When prompted, enter the default user code. Again, each vendor has its own default user code. Press the User Management button and set up the user codes. Press Back when finished. While still in the toolbox, you'll set up brightness, volume, backlight timeout, date, time, and other features. Once everything has been programmed, you'll activate the system, test the system, and go over the system with the client. To test the system, go into the installer toolbox and select the walk test. This will show you the signal strength of each sensor. If a sensor has low or no signal strength, you'll need to remount the sensor in a position with satisfactory signal strength. Again, please refer to the manufacturer's programming guide for more detailed information. After you have successfully completed testing the system, you're ready to talk through the system with the client. Make sure you point out all of the sensors and explain how to arm, disarm, and change settings for the security system. The client needs to sign the contract and make sure all of the required information is correct. This includes passwords and contact lists. When you get back to the office, you will fax the paperwork to the monitoring company. Also note that you must be certified to install and activate a security system. Please make sure all of the required paperwork is filled out and given to the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services. To learn more information about each of the security systems we install at Livewire, please visit each vendor's website.